For creating graphs from tables, make sure you grab this paper, this little paper that's been cut out for you, and your journal. Your journal, I want you to write your new, from your table of contents, you're going to write creating graphs from tables, and you're going to put the page number. Pause the video if you need to. What you're also going to do is turn your page to a blank paper. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out so you can see this. So this paper, the little paper that you picked up, you're going to glue it on the right side. But I don't want you to get up right now. You're going to glue it when you finish your notes. Okay, so I better not see anybody standing up. All right, let's get to the notes now. So we're creating graphs from tables. So it says example 1, fill in the missing value on each number line. So right here is my number line. When you have a graph, you have your X and your Y axis. You have little increments. It could say 2, 4, and right here, your increments here are going to be 1, 3. So we have missing numbers here, right? We don't know what this one is. So this is what we're doing today. We're filling in our number line. Okay. So this is how we're going to solve. We are going to jump 1, 2. When we figure out this first increment, then we can figure out the rest of the number line. So what I did was I jumped twice. So that means I'm going to use this 20. I'm going to divide it by how many times did you jump. So we did 2 times. So 20 divided by 2, I know is 10. I'm going to put that 10 right there. Now, that does not mean that it's going to go for every missing increment. That's not what it means. What it means is you are going to add 10 for every increment, for every line that you see. So from here, from 0 to 10, we've added 10 here, right? Plus 10. We're going to get from 10 to 20. You got to add 10 more. I know 10 plus 10 is 20. I know that increment is correct. Now let's go from 20 to this missing one. 20, we got to add 10. 20 plus 10 is 30. Now let's see if this 40 is correct. We're going from 30 to 40. 30 plus 10 is 40. This is correct. Okay, you're going to do the same thing for the rest of them. Or we know our 10s. If we know the first one, we can go 10, 20, 30, 40. We know this is 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Okay, remember, we're going to do example 2 together if you're a little confused. You have to figure out the first missing increment. When you figure out this one, then we can do the rest of them. So example 2 says fill in the missing value on each number line. We're doing the same thing. Let's see how many times we jump. We're going 1, 2. That means I'm going to divide 6 by 2. Okay, 6 divided by 2 is 3. I just found out. So that means that first increment, we're going to be adding 3 to the rest of them. So 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 plus 3 is 15. 15 plus 3 is 18, and so forth, right? We can also do our multiples of 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. Okay, I want you to do the ones that I star. So you're going to do example 3 and 4 by yourself. Okay, example 5. This one, if you notice the difference between example 5 and the rest of them is there's 2 missing numbers first. But that's okay. We're still going to do the same thing. We're going to see how many times we jump. 1, 2, 3. So that means now I'm going to divide 15 by 3. That's how many times we jumped. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. So I'm going to put that 5 right there. So now I know I'm going to add 5 to each increment. So 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. 15 plus 5 is 20. If you notice, it's going in 5s, right? Multiples of 5. So let's just do our 5s. It's a lot easier. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and 60. Okay. I want you to do example 3 and 4 by yourself. Go ahead and turn it over on the back. So we're going to do, we have to, we're talking about graphs and tables now. Let's see. Example 6 says Spencer gets paid $15 an hour to babysit his sister. Create a graph from a table. So they're giving us our table. It says $15 an hour. Remember, an hour just means for one. So for 1 hour, he gets paid $15. For 2 hours, he gets paid $30. And for 3 hours, he gets paid $45. Okay? So, the first step I want you to do is I want you to look at this graph and I want you to label. You got to label your X and Y. X is on the bottom, your X is going to left and right, and your Y is going up and down. I want to see this. Every time you get a graph, I want to see you label your X and Y. The second thing I want you to do is to fill in missing increments. If you look on the bottom here, they're all filled in. But what about our y-axis? We're missing some. So we're going to do the jumps. 1, 2. So I know I have to divide 10. Let me zoom in for you. 10 divided by 2. And that's going to give me my first increment. So I know the first one is 5. So now I know I'm going to have to add 5 every time. 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. I know it's going in 5s. So let's just do our multiples of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay, you need to fill this in. So the first step, label your X and Y. Second step is fill in your missing increments. Now the third step is just you are plotting on the graph. We're putting points on this graph. Or give us a table. Remember, our table is always going to look X and Y. So when you plot a point, you need to write X. This is what it's going to look like. Parentheses X, comma, Y. And you close your parentheses. So that means that this first point is going to be 1, comma, 15. The second point is 2, comma, 30. And the last point is 3, comma, 45. So these are our X. So when you plot on a graph, you always have to start with X and then your Y. Your X goes left and right, and your Y goes up and down. So let's look. We have 1 and 15. So I'm going to move my finger to the 1, and I'm going to go up to 15. And I'm going to plot my point right there. Make sure you have a nice big dot right there so I can see it. So let's do the second point. The second point is going to be 2 and 30. I'm going to move my finger over to the second one on the x-axis, and I'm going to go all the way up to 30 right here. So I'm going to put my point nice and big. Okay, now let's do the third point. We're going to go 3 all the way up to 45. For now, we're not connecting the line. We'll do that later. I just want to make sure that you have the the point on the correct spot. Okay, you're going to do example 7 by yourself. It says, during migration, a duck can travel 30 miles in 1 hour. Create a graph from the table. So that we got points here. Okay, remember, the first thing I want you to do is label your X and your Y on the graph. I want you to label here on the graph. The second thing is I want you to fill in missing increments. That means you're going to fill in your missing numbers. Okay, right here we're missing some numbers here. I want you to fill them in. And the third thing is you are going to plot on the graph. You're going to put these points on the graph. Okay? Let's see. Yep. So I want you to do that. When you're finished with this, you're going to raise your hand so I can come by and check. And then I want you to do these 3 questions. I'm looking for these 3 things, okay, for each one of these questions.